One, two, mic test. Hello, hello, mic test. One, two, mic test, mic test, mic test. One, two, mic test. One, two, mic test. One, two, mic test. One, two, mic test. Mic test, mic test.
Yes, hello. Yes, hello. One, two. Yes, hello. Yes, hello. One, two.
test 1 2. Mic test 1 2. Mic test 1 2.
Yes, hello. Yes, hello. Yes, hello. Mic 1 2. Yes. 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 Yes, hello. Yes, hello. Mic 1 2. Mic 1 2.
Gara biya mo back sango ko dem.
Barang apa remita jon? Apa driver bijan? Yes, hello. 1 2. 1 2. Mic 1 2. Yes, hello. Yes, hello. 1 2. Mic. Yes, hello. 1 2. Mic.
Mic test 1 2. Yes. Yes. Testing mic all. Testing mic 1 2. Yes, mic test 1 2. 1 2 mic test. Mic test 1 2.
Zumbi, is it?
This is where you own it.
Okay.
Hello, mic this.
Okay, that's fine.
You just tell the MC this way. This is for the audience.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
You own it
The
from
attendance is going round. Please don't forget to sign on it.
He's saying that this is the MC, so he said he has where you own it.
you turn it on.
So I just use this one.
Yeah, he used this one. This one.
Okay,
So maybe this for the audience.
So, Bow.
During the panel discussion, we can use.
Yeah, so can we number 11 press one, so that is no cost
Yeah.
for the
Daura.
press briefing. For the press briefing. Yes, ini kan. So, but we working it out. Yeah. How are you? You are from how are you? Malang, yeah. Yes. So let me give you the. Do you have the passport? Yes, yes. Take a look.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to ask that you all please rise to make welcome the Honorable Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare. Can you please take your seats? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome all of you to the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara Conference Center for a very important occasion. We are here for the launching of a very important project, which is the launching of the Vulnerable Youth and Women's Support Project that is funded by the African Development Bank and that is meant to be implemented by the National Social Protection Secretariat. Before we go further, I'd like us to take a minute to just take a few seconds and pray in your individual ways before we go ahead. Amen. May all our prayers be answered. I'll now like to call on the police band, and I'd like us to stand as well for the national anthem that would be led by the police band. Thank you very much, the Gambia Police Band. You may take your seats for a very beautiful rendition of the Gambian National Anthem. Moving forward, I just want to confirm, because we have some people joining us online as well, if you can hear us loud and clear, if you could just react so we could see you, or maybe you can send a chat if you're not hearing us, so the IT guys here will sort you out as soon as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'd like to welcome you to the official launching of the Vulnerable Youth and Women's Support Project here at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara Conference Center. I would also like to make a welcome the Honorable Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Honorable Fatou Kinte. Can we please welcome Honorable? Thank you for joining us. We also have in our midst the task manager of the project, which is the project for the Vulnerable Youth and Women's Support Project from the African Development Bank, Aminata Bahum Traore. We have with us as well the Deputy Permanent Secretary from the Office of the Vice President, Mr. Sehu Traore as well. And the Deputy Permanent Secretary from the Ministry of Health, we have Mr. Bamaning Sabali. Before we go any further, as I mentioned, this is a very important project, and I'd like to welcome you all, government officials, private sector individuals, ladies and gentlemen, the Gambia Police Band, and of course, not forgetting the media. Thank you for being here. I'll just give you a very brief rundown of this very important project, which is the Vulnerable Youth and Women Support Project. The objective of this particular project is to promote livelihoods and access to basic services, including health, nutrition, social protection, and education for people in the rural areas, specifically in the Central and Upper River region. This project will support job creation and improvement in the quality of jobs and livelihoods for vulnerable women and out-of-school youth in the rural areas, and it will also improve their use and access to better and inclusive basic social services. The project is divided into two components. Component one is to support youth and women empowerment to equitably access jobs and livelihood opportunities. And the second component is going to be to support for better inclusive access to basic and social services. I cannot go in depth, but that's why we have the very seasoned panel here who are the experts in this topic, and they will be giving their statements, and I'm very sure by the time they're done with their statements, we'll all understand what this project is, how important it is, and why it is going to change so many lives in the country. So without further ado, I would like to make welcome our representative from the Office of the Vice President. He will be representing the Permanent Secretary. We have the Deputy Permanent Secretary from the Office of the Vice President, Mr. Sekou Traoré, to give his welcome remarks. So ladies and gentlemen, please make a welcome Mr. Sekou Traoré.
Thank you very much, Moderator. Honorable Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, the Task Force Manager, and the entire team from AFDB, Madam Traoré, my sister, Permanent Secretaries here present, representatives of the development partners, Honorable Governors of CRR and URR, the project coordinator and the entire project team, implementing partners, regional delegates, NGOs and private sector representatives, media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. I'm here representing my Permanent Secretary, and the speech I'm supposed to read is going to be done on his behalf. It reads, "It is my distinct honor and pleasure to make a remark or a welcome remark at this auspicious occasion of the official launch of the Vulnerable Youth and Women Project. This project represents a significant step towards addressing the challenges faced by some of the most marginalized groups in our society, our young people and women, who, despite their potentials, often struggle to access the opportunities they need to thrive and contribute fully to the development of our country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the project we are launching today could not have come at a more opportune time given the challenges we face as a nation. The Gambia has long grappled with persistent poverty, youth unemployment, gender inequality, and unequal access to essential services. These factors identified in the Gambia Fragility Assessment have been significant contributors to the country's fragility, driving many, especially the youth, to embark on dangerous journeys in search of better opportunities abroad. This auspicious occasion or event marks a pivotal moment in our collective efforts to uplift and empower these members of our society and ensure that no one is left behind in our national development efforts. The project we are launching today is more than just an initiative. It is a lifeline for many people, especially the out-of-school youth and women in rural areas who will benefit from livelihood support programs and social services such as health, nutrition, social protection, and education services that the project promotes. This project has been designed with the objective of breaking barriers, providing not just a helping hand, but the tool and opportunities necessary to foster sustainable livelihood and resilience. By targeting capacity building, financial support, and access to resources and services, this initiative seeks to empower the vulnerable women and youth, especially out-of-school youth in rural areas, ensuring that they become active participants in driving the country's development agenda forward. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to express our gratitude, our profound gratitude, to the African Development Bank for the unwavering commitment to supporting the Gambia's development agenda. This project could not have been possible without your financial and technical support. The dedication and collaboration ensure that our vision for an inclusive and empowered society becomes a reality. I would also like to acknowledge the role of all our partners, the regional governors and their teams, the implementing partners, and local leaders who have been instrumental in bringing this project to life. Your dedication to improving the lives of our vulnerable populations is truly commendable. A special thank you to the National Social Protection Secretariat and the entire project implementation unit for their commitment to the success of this project. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, today's launch is just the beginning of a transformative journey. As we embark on the implementation of this project, let us remain committed to its goals, ensuring that every vulnerable youth and woman in our rural areas has the opportunity to live a dignified life with access to the resources and services they need. Together we can build a more resilient, equitable, and prosperous Gambia. I look forward to the positive impact this project will have on our nation's future. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much for that very detailed welcoming statement, Mr. Traore. You mentioned that this project is going to serve as a lifeline for so many people in the country, especially out-of-school youth, because you mentioned irregular migration, which is something that I believe is haunting our nation at the moment, and it's haunting our young people. So a project like this, specifically in the targeted areas, I believe is going to go a very long way in giving our youth a lifeline, in code, which you said, which I believe is very, very important. So moving on, we'll have a statement from the Deputy Director General for West Africa region and the Country Manager for the Gambia, Mr. Joseph Ribeiro from the African Development Bank. Mr. Ribeiro will actually be joining us online. I believe he's ready, so if you can just tilt your seats a little bit to the left, and we'll have this statement from Mr. Ribeiro. Mr. Ribeiro, thank you very much for joining us, and over to you.
Thank you very much, distinguished guests, esteemed partners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's both a pleasure and an honor for me in my competencies as the country manager for the Gambia and the Director General for West Africa to take the floor today on behalf of the African Development Bank Group as we gather to mark the official launch of the Vulnerable Youth and Women Support Project in the Gambia. This moment is significant not only because of the project we are inaugurating, but also because of the lives we aim to positively impact through our collective efforts. At the African Development Bank, as you know, our mission is to spur sustainable economic development and social progress across our continent. We firmly believe that true development can only be achieved when no one is left behind, in particular when opportunities reach every young person striving for a better future and every woman aspiring to make a difference in her community. This project, which focuses on the empowerment of vulnerable youth and women, perfectly aligns with that mission and could not come at a better time, as was said by the previous speaker. Today's launch is more than the beginning of a project. It is the start of a journey towards unlocking the potential of young people and women across the Gambia. This initiative is designed to equip them with the skills, knowledge, and resources they need to create sustainable livelihoods, contribute to economic growth, and become agents of change within their communities. I'll rely on the task manager, Aminata, who is there with you physically, to go on the specific objectives of the project. From the management side of the bank, let me just highlight that this project would not have been possible without the invaluable collaboration of our partners, especially the government of the Gambia, local organizations, the Line Ministry for Gender, the community leaders, and all stakeholders who have come together with a shared vision. Hence, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each of you for your dedication, your vision, and your tireless efforts in bringing this project to fruition. So on that note, let me conclude reaffirming the African Development Bank's commitment to support initiatives that drive inclusive growth and development across Africa and especially across the Gambia. Together we are stronger, and together we can build a brighter future for the Gambia where every young person and every woman could thrive and succeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rivera, for joining us. That was a very detailed and I'd say very inspiring speech. And I'm very sure we wouldn't have wished to collaborate with any other partners on a project such as this apart from yourselves, because I believe that your goals and the goals of the National Social Protection Secretariat and that of the Gambian government align perfectly well. And I believe that this is a very good partnership and a perfect match, I'd say. And so the goals and the missions for this project will definitely be achieved thanks to your involvement together with that of all the stakeholders involved. So once again, Mr. Ibarra, thank you for joining us. We will now move on very swiftly to the official launch of the project, which is the Project for the Vulnerable Youth and Women Support Project. And for that, we have with us in our midst the Honorable Minister for Gender, Children and Social Welfare. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Honorable Fatou Kinte.
Good morning. This statement I'm about to deliver is the statement of the Vice President, who could have joined us today due to other official missions. And the statement reads: Honorable Cabinet Ministers here present, the African Development Bank team mission, represented by Mrs. Amira Tarawale, permanent secretaries and other senior government officials, Mr. Babadin Sabali, DPS Technical of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Sheikh Tarawale, DPS Technical of the Office of the Vice President, UN agencies and other development partners here present, the coordinator of the Social Protection Secretariat and staff, the director of NANA and staff, NGOs and civil society organizations. I can also see staff of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Tango, and other government departments and ministries. Information department, I can see, are also represented here. The private sector representatives of beneficiary communities, implement partners of the project, all of the protocols duly and respectfully observed. Good morning. Today marks yet an important milestone in our shared journey towards building a more inclusive, resilient, and prosperous Gambia. It is my honor to stand before you as we launch the Vulnerable Youth and Women Support Project, a game-changing intervention designed to uplift those who face the great barriers to opportunity in our country. In recent years, the Gambia has been faced with numerous challenges, from economic volatility to the impact of global crises such as COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine conflict. These events have highlighted the fragility of our socioeconomic systems, but more importantly, they have underscored the resilience of our people, particularly our women and youth. As we gather here today, we are reminded that 65% of our population is under 24 years old. With many facing the harsh realities of unemployment, underemployment, and limited access to basic services. Our women, who make up a significant portion of the workforce, remain at the forefront of these challenges, especially in rural areas where access to quality health, education, and employment opportunities remains limited. The chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, this project, generously funded by the African Development Bank through the Transition Support Facility grant, responds to these urgent needs by targeting the most vulnerable among us, young women, out-of-school youth, and rural communities. The Vulnerable Youth and Women Support Project is designed to tackle the multidimensional nature of poverty in the Gambia, ensuring that we not only create opportunities for economic empowerment, but also provide access to essential social services such as health and education. The chairperson, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Vulnerable Youth and Women Empowerment Support Project is closely aligned with the African Development Bank's Country Strategy Paper 2021-2025, specifically targeting the priority areas of modernizing agricultural value chains for inclusive growth. This project will contribute directly to two of the bank's high five strategic goals. Goal 1, Feed Africa, by adding value to the agriculture sector, and Goal 5, improve the quality of life for people of Africa by enhancing skills, creating job opportunities, and improving access to quality healthcare infrastructure. With a strong emphasis on youth and women's employment, the project will support the implementation of AFDB's Job for Youth in Africa Strategy 2016-2025, as well as the Skill for Employability and Productivity in Africa 2022-2025 action plans. Additionally, it aligns with the AFDB's Gender Strategy 2021-2025, promoting women's economic empowerment, increasing their skills, and enhancing access to livelihood opportunities. Furthermore, the project contributes to the bank's climate and green growth strategic framework, supporting sustainable development across the continent. Let us reflect for a moment on the vision behind this project. As articulated in our recovery-focused National Development Plan, our NDP 2023-2027, and aligned with the National Social Protection Policy 2015-2025. The goal of this government is clear: to build human capital and promote inclusive growth that benefits every Gambian, especially those who have been left behind for too long. This project that we are about to launch today is a critical instrument in advancing this agenda, as it directly supports our green recovery focus and the social inclusive project under the National Development Plan. This project promises several important benefits, such as: one, it is to build on three fundamental pillars that reflect both technical and political commitment of this government to reduce poverty, strengthen social protection systems, and empower those most in need. One, empowerment and job creation. At its core, this project focuses on functional literacy, technical and vocational skills, development, and agricultural value chains. Over 1,000 vulnerable youth and women will be equipped with the necessary skills to engage in productive activities, especially in agribusiness. Moreover, by rehabilitating key TVET centers and providing demand-driven training, we are ensuring that these individuals can access decent jobs, improve their livelihoods, and contribute to the socio-economic development and transformation of our country, the Gambia. Two, improve access to basic services. It is not enough to provide economic opportunities without addressing the basic social services that underpin sustainable development. This project will enhance access to quality health infrastructure, especially in maternal and child care, and rehabilitate health centers in Kuntaur, Fatoto to national standards. This will directly contribute to reducing maternal mortality, improving nutrition, and ensuring that our rural communities can access the health care that they need. The project shall extend support to early childhood development centers at the Diabugu, Caroline, and Karantaba villages, which are critical not only in terms of positively impacting on the physical and psychological development of young children, but also in ensuring that women, especially mothers, have the time and space to engage in productive economic activities for their economic empowerment. Three, institutional strengthening and sustainability. This project will also strengthen the National Social Protection Secretariat by enhancing its capacity to coordinate, monitor, and evaluate social protection initiatives in the country. This is a vital step in institutionalizing social protection as a permanent fixture of our governance, ensuring that our most vulnerable are protected, not just at times of crisis, but also as a matter of state policy. This commitment is reflected in the National Social Protection Policy, which envisions an inclusive, integrated, and comprehensive social protection system by 2035. The chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, these pillars align closely with our national development priorities, including those of the National Agenda Policy and the National Youth Employment Strategy, underscoring our commitment to gender equality, youth empowerment, and economic transformation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this project is a demonstration of the political will of this government to address the root causes of poverty and inequality. By focusing on vulnerable populations, the project embodies our commitment to inclusive growth, ensuring that economic opportunities are not limited to a few, but are extended to those who need them most. It is also in line with our international commitments, including the Agenda 2063 of the African Union and the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 1, no poverty, SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. Through this project, we will be addressing key drivers of fragility in the Gambia. As identified in the Gambia Fragility Assessment, with unemployment, inequality, and limited access to basic services are major sources of vulnerability. By tackling this head-on, the project will play a crucial role in building resilience and promoting social cohesion while reducing the pressures that drive irregular migration and other destabilizing factors. The chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to the African Development Bank, Emerson Holland Foundation, and all other partners whose contributions have made this project a reality. Your support is not only financial, but also a true partnership in shaping the future of the Gambia. We have no doubt that the ADB's support also brings a wealth of expertise and experience that will guide us in implementing effectively strategies to combat poverty, inequality, and social exclusion in the Gambia. However, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you must remember that this is just the beginning. The success of this project depends on our collective efforts, from local communities to government agencies, from development partners to civil society organizations. I therefore call on every stakeholder to play their part in ensuring that the benefits of this project reach the people it is meant to serve. Together, we can transform challenges into opportunities and ensure a better future for our youth and our women. Today, we reaffirm our commitment to leave no one behind. Let this launch be a symbol of hope, empowerment, and progress for all Gambians, especially the most vulnerable. As we embark on this journey, let us remember that when we empower our youth and women, we empower the whole nation. With these few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, it is at this juncture that I have the singular honor and privilege to declare the Vulnerable Youth and Women Support Project officially launched, and may the project be a beacon of transformation for generations to come. Thank you very much for your audience.
Thank you for that, Honorable Fatou Kinte, and thank you for the police ban as well. She mentioned a lot. She mentioned a lot, and I'd just like to highlight a very few points that she did mention, most especially when she said that the success of this project depends on us. The success of this project doesn't only depend on the implementing body or the funding body as well. It depends on all Gambians, because this is for us. And so if we take it up as one of our own, if we take it up that, okay, if this project is successful, it's going to help us, it's going to help our Gambian people, I believe that this is something all of us should take up upon ourselves, take up the responsibility, either directly or indirectly, and make sure that this project works, not only in the targeted areas, but all over the country as well. So thank you for that, Honorable Fatou Kinte. That was very inspiring, I'd say. You also mentioned that the majority of our population is made up by youth and women, and I believe as a nation we should be very scared if the majority of our population is threatened or vulnerable. And so for that, I think we have to take it upon ourselves, and I'd say the first step, which is being done very well by the NSPS, to make sure that the vulnerable population, which is the majority of our population as well, are being catered for and being taken care for. And so once the majority of our population is no longer vulnerable, I think that's a very good sign for us moving forward as a country. So that's it for the first part of this session, or the launching of the project. We will now step out for the official group photo for the launching. I believe that would be done at the entrance, just by the flags, if I'm not mistaken. So all of us can just take about 5-10 minutes to go out, take a quick group photo, and then we will come back in for the panel discussion. Thank you all.
So we have 3 minutes of
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to plead that we let the Honorable Minister make her exit first, and then we leave.
Where the mics? The other one as well. Maybe for the purposes.
So this one will be for. Maybe you can start from here.
Good morning once again, ladies and gentlemen. We are now about to start the panel discussion. Apologies, we had to swap the media briefing with the panel discussion, so we just had to alter the program guide a bit. So we're about to start the panel discussion now, and members of the panel, we will be joined by the national coordinator, that is the project coordinator for the National Social Protection Secretariat. That is Mr. Mamoudou Diba. Can we please give him a round of applause? Thank you. We'll also be joined by the Director of Planning from the Ministry of Health. Thank you. We will have the General Manager from the National Enterprise Development Initiative, that is NADI. We will also have a representative from NANA, which is the National Nutrition Agency. And finally, we will have a representative from the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, specifically from the Adult and Non-Formal Education Unit. Could you please join us? Thank you, lady and gentlemen, for joining us on this panel. This is going to be very interactive, I believe. We want it to be as interactive as possible, so all of us will be able to learn about this project. And so we've got different stakeholders, both from the government and from the private sector as well, who will be playing very pivotal roles in the implementation of this project. And so because of that, I'd like to start with our implementing body, which is the National Social Protection Secretariat. We have the national coordinator in our midst. Mr. Dibba, I'd just like to ask you what role NSPS will play in the overall success of such a project. Sorry, before you start, if you have any questions, please just note them down, and then we'll take it bit by bit. We'll pass the mic on if you have any questions, and please direct them to the speaker, and then after that we'll ask questions. So, Mr. Dibba, I'll just repeat the question, and that is, what role does the National Social Protection Secretariat play, or what role will the National Social Protection Secretariat play in the overall success of this project?
Okay, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you, Sam, for the, it's working now? Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Sam, for the question. So first, I will put it in two ways. First, I will say our direct physical activity in the project, and also a very symbolic activity, and the reason why the National Social Protection Secretariat is coordinating the project. So as explained earlier on, we are coordinating, or we are the implementing agency, but none of the activities on the ground will be implemented by the National Social Protection Secretariat. This aligns strictly in line with our mandate to coordinate social protection activities, and then other people will implement on the ground. This is also in line with the National Social Protection Act, which was recently passed by the National Assembly 2024. The Social Protection Secretariat is supposed to coordinate social protection activities, and that is why in a multi-stakeholder project like this, we are coordinating the activities, but the institutions to be on the ground and to provide the actual services will not be the National Social Protection Secretariat, which is our core mandate. Now, the second symbolic activity that I would want to mention, often people take social protection to be synonymous with cash transfers. So cash transfer is one of many social protection interventions. And with this project, what we are trying to show to the Gambian people and also everyone involved is to say social protection is not only to give you fish, it's also to teaching you how to fish. Now, this is social protection priority 3 of the National Social Protection Policy. It says that to improve the lives and livelihoods of the economically active population. I think most of the speakers mentioned about approximately 60% of the population to be within a very good range to be considered economically active. Now, you can have cash transfer programs for vulnerable groups or also for poor households, but the household group that are economically active and they don't have opportunities, what do you do with them? Social protection is saying you provide training opportunities, scale them so that they'll be able to go and fish on their own. So this is why the National Social Protection Secretariat is promoting a project of this nature in addition to other social protection activities like cash transfers the government is doing, the famous NAFA cash transfer program and the government family strengthening program. This is to say it's not only about cash transfers, it's also empowering people to be able to earn living for themselves. This is also social protection. So that's the symbolic message the project has, and that's also our role in it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Dibba. Just a follow-up question. You mentioned that you will not be, the NSPS will not be on the ground implementing these projects. But as the implementing body, how are you going to monitor the progress and make sure that the bodies actually implementing the projects on the ground keep up to the standards that you want them to?
So that's why the project is staffed with consultants or specialists. We have a gender specialist to ensure that we are in line with gender mainstreaming issues. We have environmental specialists. We have a value chain specialist in the project. Of course, we also have monitoring specialists in the project. So our role is to make sure that the different implementing partners on the ground are implementing the project in accordance with the project documents, and above all, they are meeting the stated policy objectives of government in terms of empowering people to have skills to be able to Of course, in terms of the rehabilitations, the Ministry of Works, which is the government ministry for infrastructure development, will do the supervision. We don't have the technical know-how to do this, so they will backstop the secretariat and provide all the technical advice on the civil works. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Dimas. Moving on, my next question will be for Mr. Jibril Jani, who's the Director of Planning at the Ministry of Planning. Mr. Jani, thank you for joining us. My question is, how will the rehabilitation, because the project specifies the rehabilitation of healthcare centers, how will the rehabilitation of healthcare centers improve maternal and child health in these targeted regions?
Thank you very much, the moderator, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, my colleague panelists. It is indeed a privilege to be here to also share some of the benefits that the project will actually help in the ministry in achieving the targets, specifically the SDG, and our health sector policy. When we look at the targeted project sites, we have basically two targeted sites. We have CRR North, and CRR North we all know as planners, as social workers, is the most less privileged region in the country. And social indicators in CRR North are compared to all other regions, CRR North is worst off in terms of the social indicators. And in the health sector, the maternal mortality trend is higher in CRR North, both the Kuntauru LGA and Janjambure LGA. And then the under 5 mortality, morbidity, the neonatal morbidity, in short, the health-related indicators and the SDG-related indicators for the health sector are not really doing well in CRR North. So having Kuntauru Major Health Center rehabilitated, equipped, and provided with the necessary medication for it to perform its full potential will be able to help us reduce maternal mortality in this country by over 50%. But when you look at the majority of the deaths that are happening is happening on that belt of the region. And we could not definitely for the longest time make Kuntauru a major health center fully operational. And some of the issues are related to archaic infrastructure and also availability of equipment and manpower. But with the renovation, we'll be able to motivate the right staff to be able to provide the necessary support for the people. And for Fatoto also, it's the same thing. The Fatoto Health Center have been built over 50, 60 years ago, and when you look at Fatoto, it's very close to the border, and most of the, not only the Gambians, but those around the Casamas belt also benefit from Fatoto in terms of healthcare service delivery. And from Fatoto to Basse, is over 40 kilometers. So getting Fatoto actually operationalized to be able to provide basic emergency obstetric care will be able to definitely reduce our maternal mortality rate, and then all child-related, morbidity and mortality rate. And also, one thing I will say that one of the leading factors for maternal mortality is we call them the delays. And one of them is delay in accessing, service. You realize that from Farafenye to Bansang, there is no facility that provides, a comprehensive emergency obstetric service, meaning any facility that can provide operation for women. From Farafenye, you go up to Bansang, and Bansang you have to cross the river to access, Bansang, and that's almost more than 100 kilometers For a woman to be in labor to travel over 100 kilometers, is huge. It's unacceptable. And also, not only in terms of service, but it also it will help reduce out-of-pocket expenditure for women. Those that need obstetric care can easily, from Nyanga Banta end, can easily pay fare to Kuntauru, rather than paying fare up to Farafenye or paying fare to Lamenkoto, cross the river to go to Bansang. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Jalo. Just before you pass on the mic, you mentioned some of the challenges. Number one being transportation and the distance between some of these rural areas to healthcare. Are there any other challenges that the ministry has faced that you feel like this project could solve in the near and long term?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges I've mentioned, the project will provide ambulance for 2 sites. So it will cut the challenge of it will reduce, not cut totally. It will reduce the referral challenge, and the project will also provide equipment for the facilities to be fully operational, and that will help lessen the burden on the national budget in terms of the in terms of provision of equipment. And what is more important is the medication aspect. Really, we all know that access to medicine in the country, even in the Greater Banjul area here, is a huge challenge. The medicine price has definitely gone up. From the AKI, 2 years ago to now, we used to buy paracetamol syrup for $25, $30. Now, paracetamol syrup is $75 to $100, depending on the. So an ordinary, Gambian cannot definitely afford, and this is part of the project to provide these 2 facilities with enough, medical supplies to be able to, provide services to the vulnerable, individuals in society in those targeted areas.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Jaju. Moving along the line, I'd like to address my next question to Lisa Kamara from NEDI. NEDI focuses mainly on entrepreneurship and so on. So what support will NEDI provide to vulnerable women and youth in these targeted areas when it comes to training them on entrepreneurship and business and so on?
All right. Thank you. Good afternoon to you all. Yes. So under the project, we are tasked with the responsibility of implementing activities on the component 1 and 1.2 of the project, which is access to productive equipment and non-financial services. The program will go a long way in providing employment for vulnerable youth and women in the 3 LGAs that we're working in. That is CRL North, South, and URR. Our role will be to provide coaching services, market linkages, and youth and women training in the 3 LGAs that we're working in. That is CRL North, South, and we target 1,000 beneficiaries and youth 18 to 35 and women over 35. And we will be concentrating on few components, that is horticulture, poultry, small ruminants, and agro-food processing. These are the key areas. So far, we've rolled out the application process of the project, and we've received more than 10,000 applications. And this further goes to, highlight the need and vulnerability of people that live in those communities. So I believe the program will go a long way in providing employment and also access to finance for women, which will definitely lead to financial independence.
10,000 applications and you are targeting 1,000. So how do you plan on narrowing down to
The truth is, not all the 10,000, 1,000 will even come out of the 10,000. The truth is, about 740 will be selected out of that. The 60 would be beneficiaries that would be direct. That would be a direct target beneficiaries from the Gambia Sangha initiative. We also have another 200 that's also a direct target from the mass education that is being implemented by one of the IPs, that is ANFO. We have shortlisted about 3,000 out of the 1,000 applicants, and now our job, the team is currently on the ground interviewing. The job is to, which is the most difficult part, is to get 740 out of the 3,000 that are shortlisted. We knew the target was 1,000, but we still went ahead to collect the applications just to further highlight and emphasize the fact that the need is there. In case in the future there is support, not from just ADB, but other projects would also use the data that we already have to further support people from those communities.
Great. I think it's very important that we have some of our partners from the African Development Bank here as well to hear stuff like that, so they know that we have a lot of people, a lot of vulnerable women and youth in our communities who need that, because 10,000 is a crazy number.
It is.
So I just want to find out, what's the selection criteria that the team on ground at the moment is using to select?
For youth 15 to 35, women over 35, you have to be a Gambian. You have to be a resident of the 3 LGAs, Sierra, North, South, and URR. You have to be interested in some of the areas that I mentioned: poultry, horticulture, small ruminants, and agro-food processing. So these are some of the basic criteria.
Thank you.
We also have a specific number for people living with disability. We would also cater for some of the migrant returnees. They will all be factored in from the applicants.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So my next question goes to Mr. Sikeba from Mopti. Mr. Sikeba, my question is, how does the ministry plan to integrate life skills and entrepreneurship into the school curriculums at the moment? Because I believe in the economy we have at the moment, skills and some of these things are just as important as learning, as the theoretical part of learning. So are there any steps being taken to include skills and these things into the curriculum for the children?
Okay, as far as this project is concerned, our basic role is to provide basic literacy and numeracy. To what I've just asked will go to Navy. Okay. As far as this project is concerned, to provide basic literacy and numeracy for beneficiaries. And this is very essential, because whatever you are doing, if you cannot read and write, you cannot prosper. African problem, if you look at African history, some scholars are saying that our main problem is lack of numeric and alphanumeric. Here, majority, 50% of the Gambian, they cannot read. And those who can read, their literacy level is very low. If you go to CRR, Kuntauru, and many other places, you do assessment, the literacy level is very, very low. And majority of our participants are women. These people cannot read and write, and they're always taking part in economic activity, gardening, small business, you name it. So therefore, our involvement in this project to increase their ability to read and write, proposed to keep proper records of their activities, and also to be able to calculate, because sometimes their business blank sheet, the moment it is above half million, they cannot calculate, especially when they want to, itemize. So that's why we train them how to read and write in their own languages. And according to this project, we have 4 national languages that will be used during training. We train to read and write in these languages. So medium, the national language are going to be used as medium of instruction. We're also going to use them how to calculate, use calculators, so that when they are doing the small business, instead of trying to count offhand, they can use their calculator to count within minutes. They are done with it. So reading and writing are very essential, as well as using calculators. And as this rightly said, we are targeting 1,000 land across the country, all over the country. Our intervention sites are Kuntauru, a local government area, Basel local government area, and the other side is it Basse, Kuntauru, and Janjanpuri. These are our intervention sites. So I don't know whether I have answered your question adequately.
Yes, you have. Just a quick follow-up question.
Okay.
These are adults.
Okay.
Most of them are adults and youth as well.
Okay.
So how do you plan? Of course, it's going to be a different approach. I know that the ministry already has an approach for adults and so on. But just for us here, could you please just give us a brief rundown of exactly how you plan to approach teaching adults and so on, please? Because I'm pretty sure it's a different approach that you would take us to teaching.
Yes, our facility, we're going to train them content knowledge as well as pedagogy. Pedagogy is called what they call adult psychology. That's very, very important. We are going to equip them with that skill. If you want to teach adults, you have to respect them. And they learn better if they are involved in practical work. So some of these, psychological, input will be, part of our training. So by and large, we go to train them content knowledge on orthography, how to, read in Mandinka, Wolof, Plar, as well as, how to approach adults. Adults are different from, small children. So their teaching method is quite different. So we are going to equip them with that skill and knowledge as well as competency, so that at least they'll be able to impact knowledge on them.
Sure. So the languages you mentioned, I might have missed it, but I didn't hear English in there. Do you think it is necessary for us to include English into some of these curriculums for the adults, as it being the official language? So let's say if they have to deal with official transactions.
Yeah, that depends on the community. They have to choose the medium of instruction to be used during teaching and learning. So we don't import. That's why before any program, any intervention, we embark on baseline. And the result from baseline will tell us what will be the medium of instruction in a particular community. There are other literacy centers here, they use English. Like Inside Training Center, they use English. SOS, they use English. But if you go to other centers across the country, they use national languages. So that depends on the participant, their choice of language.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My question is answered.
Yeah.
We'll go on to Mr. Fofana now, who is the acting executive director of NANA. Mr. Fofana, I'd just like you to tell us how the mandate of NANA correlates with that of this project, because the project makes mention of addressing access and improving nutrition in these targeted areas. So how does the mandate of NANA and that of this project, how do they correlate?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay. So it appears the room is all alert. Huh? You are alert because you have some nourishment that is enabling you to sit comfortably, listen, and engage. The role of NANA is to promote better nutrition. Better nutrition will help to build the human capital that we are yearning for. And this project is one of the projects that is trying to build the human capital of this country, particularly focusing on the vulnerable. There are several factors that affect our national status. One of which is access to adequate, diversified diet, access to social services, food insecurity, limited knowledge, socio-cultural practices. All these are factors that affect our national status. This project in particular, and NANA's mandate is to see how do we address these factors. To address these factors, we have to look at the society as a whole. And that's why we employ or we use what is termed social and behavior change communication. That is a process that tries to ensure we inform, educate, communicate, advocate, engage, and empower to build resilience, particularly for those that are vulnerable. And this project is trying to address those vulnerable youth and women so that they can be engaged in socio-economic development of this country. To help us do that, we outlined some activities that the project is going to support. One of which is to develop the necessary tools that will help us to engage in social behavior and communication by developing scripts and spots that can be aired on TVs and radios to inform and educate people about adopting desirable behaviors. We also do some capacity building by training stakeholders on the importance of nutrition, on the importance of things that can address their vulnerability. We will also conduct a series of radio and TV programs to highlight some of the critical aspects that this project is trying to improve to address vulnerability. Of course, we will do coaching and mentoring to see that what we have trained people, what we advise people, are they doing it, and are they doing it in the right way? In that case, we will address this project's objective, but also NANA's mandate in trying to improve the internal well-being of the Gambians. That is our role in this project.
Great, thank you for that. Now, this might be maybe how you will work together with NEDI, because they will be teaching individuals on certain entrepreneurship, such as agriculture being one of them, and so on. So, nutrition and agriculture, I believe, go hand in hand. So, maybe if you can pass the mic back to Madam Kamara. I just want to know, do you guys have anything in place maybe to specifically on nutrition as you're teaching these individuals about agriculture and entrepreneurship and so on? Maybe do you focus on teaching them about these are the nutritional crops or plants that you should probably invest in if you're planting, or it's mainly just investing into products and plants that will yield interest without complementing the work that Nana is doing when it comes to nutrition?
Yes, for the poultry, horticulture, and small ruminants, we have experts that are going to handle each of those areas. For the agro-food processing as well, I think that is where we would be more, we would go more in depth when it comes to nutrition. We have an expert that is also going to handle that. So definitely that is considered. And for the agro-food processing, we will be focusing on nutrition, like you shared, quality assurance, and standard.
If I may just add, yes, the work of what NEDI does and what NANA will do will complement each other. In our behavior change communication modules, we have a module on agriculture, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy, maternal and child nutrition, gender violence. This together will help us to improve the resilience. But this is not done in isolation. We have to ensure that we partner, you synergize, and complement each other for a bigger impact. So anytime you're doing anything on financial literacy, you include people who are much more familiar in that aspect. So NEDI can be brought in to support that. So there will be a lot of complementarity between what we do and what NEDI does, especially in particular what also the non-formal education and food does. So there will be a lot of complementarity between stakeholders in it. It's not a social project, it's a project that is trying to ensure that we build a system. And to build that, we have strong, instead of partnership is very strong.
Thank you for that. I believe my question is answered. I'd like the mic to go all the way back to Mr. Diba. Mr. Diba, I just want to ask, as you said earlier, you're the implementing body and the project at the end of the day is on you. So I just want to know, are there any key performance indicators that you would use at the end of this project to monitor or determine how successful this project is?
Okay, thank you very much. I think you, there's another Mr. Diva at the far end of the table. Of course, I'm also always honored and privileged to say that Mr. Diva taught me in school. So it's a pleasure to say at this stage again with him, and always appreciative of his contribution to my life in the early stages of my education. So we have overall indicators of the project, which will go towards addressing overall indicators towards poverty. Of course, it's difficult to measure poverty over a short period of time, but all the indicators are geared towards improving socioeconomic indicators in the regions, the very reason why they were chosen in the first place. For example, if you listen to Jibril mention about the indicators in health in those regions, so the project is expected to contribute to those overall high-level indicators at that level. Of course, at the institution level, for example, NEDI and others, they will also have their indicators to test whether the training was successful or not. But the beauty about this project is, at least, let's say, for the entrepreneurship component, at the end of the training, it doesn't stop there. There is a support at individual and at group level for the purpose of sustainability, to allow them to actually practice what they learn. So the project indicators are all contributing towards national indicators of poverty and also health outcomes. So it may not be directly linear, one-to-one, but we expect, for example, it says that if you look at one of the causes of maternal mortality is the distance that is traveled by a pregnant woman in labor. Now, if you reduce that, you may not necessarily to say, okay, because of the project, we have reduced maternal mortality to this, but it will contribute. So if you look at socioeconomic indicators in a country, it's difficult to pinpoint to one exact intervention that improves it, but there are different interventions that will all move towards it. So in terms of health indicators at the regions, we expect that the project will contribute. In terms of reducing poverty, of course, if you are training people to be self-employed, you are moving in a direction where you are expected to reduce the amount of poverty, because this is the reason why these regions were chosen. So we believe that the project's indicators will be among many interventions that will go along, that will go to improve these overall socio-economic indicators. Definitely we have indicators, and then we will check, but the broader ones will be difficult to check against the project ending one-to-one because of the way they are measured and structured. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Diba. Now going back to Mr. Jibril Jaju from the Ministry of Health. We made mention and we focused on maternity on the first part during my first question. But as the Ministry of Health, I believe there are also some other very pressing health issues that are affecting young people in particular in the Gambia, to be specific, sexually transmitted diseases and so on. So as the Ministry of Health, do you have any plans on educating specifically the youth, because I believe they are the ones most, not necessarily most vulnerable, but I'd say they are the higher percentage of the people suffering from STDs recently in the country. So for these rural areas, do you have any plans on educating the youth and women on STDs and how they can abstain and how they can protect themselves from these?
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. I must say that diseases, especially in the Gambia, I would say that there is a correlation between the level of education and the and disease outcome. Meaning, the more educated an individual is, the less likely he or she will fall a victim of, for example, maternal, mortality. So most of the maternal deaths, that are happening in the rural areas, if you do maternal audits, you realize that the educational level, for example, of a woman is actually low. The income is also not there, you know, because educated women tend to have control over their sexual and reproductive health. So an aware individual have control over his or her health-seeking behaviors, you know. So the ministry have plans, and it's a continuous process. And you will see that some of the components from NEDI, NANA, and also education, you know, have an impact on health. Because, you know, if the nutritional status of individuals, you know, or women, you know, are improved, then there is less likely that they will suffer from anemia, for example. And anemia, we all know, is also part of the, you know, causes of maternal mortality, for example. So if people are educated, they are aware of the do's and the don'ts, and they know how to prevent, you know, themselves in relation to, you know, sexually transmitted infection. So it's an ongoing, although, you know, previously for the past 10 years, you realize that before, any radio you open, you'll hear people talking about TB, talking about HIV, talking about malaria. But now the trend is changing, you know, because the donors, for example, says that Gambia is not a high-risk country, so we're only focusing on the treatment component of, for example, HIV, TB, and malaria. So the SBCC component is no more funded. But the ministry have a special unit called Health Promotion Unit, Directorate, that is actually, you know, doing health communication, health promotion, you know, component to also support in the behavioral change component, you know, in terms of health saving. So it is an ongoing thing, and there's, you know, plans of the ministry launching, you know, rigorous social, you know, a social media campaign. We have Facebook, but you know, you know, we have plans of even launching a TV station. There are preliminary studies that is, you know, going on. My directorate and the research directorate have started a research on a feasibility study to actually have, you know, a TV purposely for health, so that we educate our people, so that we take control of our health. We always say that health is beyond health, you know. So when you are aware of the risk and the dangers of certain behaviors, it will help you to avoid them, you know. So, you know, which leads you to a healthy life. So in summary, if you look at the entire project design, you realize that all these components of the project are all interlinked, you know. So I must say that as a health sector, I'm privileged to stand on top. So all the other ones are catalyzers towards good health. You know, good income contributes to good health. Good nutrition, the same thing, and also education as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jaju. So now it's now time to open the floor for questions. We will take 3 questions, and please direct your questions to one of the members on the panel. So yes, Mr. Jao, you can see the individual.
Good afternoon. My name is Honorable Jeff Cisse. I'm the representative of Young People with Disabilities at the National Youth Parliament. We are representing Gambia Federation of Disabled. So we thank you for your invitation. So my question goes to Mr. Deba, as you part of the project implementation body. So I've checked the contents of the project. It is really good, but by looking at it, you can only see that persons with disabilities are only mentioned as beneficiaries of the project. So I wanted to know at what level are you going to involve Gambia Federation of Disabled to make sure this project is fully implemented? Because I believe they should come as stakeholders, not only, you know, beneficiaries. Thank you.
Maybe I should have, if it is not say that is also a good comment, and we can look into it in terms of any opportunity that comes, probably in the phase 2 days, in terms of bringing stabilities into governance structures. But as it is, this is the way the project is designed. Maybe we can take that as an oversight if that's the case, but we believe that they should benefit from the project. Thank you. Yeah, allow him.
So, I think it would be ideal.
No.
From Nelly's end, your association was consulted. We even distributed specific forms to members of your associations and representatives in the region. And I would say in each of the LGAs, for example, Sierra North, we have 1,033 shortlisted applicants. And out of the 1,033, 30% are people that identified as people that live, that are PWDs. So they are targeted. If you ask your federation president from your office here, he was handed over forms, and at regional level, we had contact persons that were given the forms, and they have applied. So I can tell you that from the shortlisting, I think in every LGA, we had over 500 people that identified as people living with a disability. So they definitely factored from Nelly's end.
Thank you. So we'll have our second question.
Yes, I just wanted to make something very clear. I mean, it's important. I mean, having them as beneficiaries to this project is important. But technically, I mean, none of those ministries or, I mean, institutions outlined have, firm idea on how to support persons with disabilities on the ground. Because not many times, projects, can be implemented perfectly, but persons with disabilities will not be able to participate effectively because personnel be trained to implement these projects in regions have less idea on understanding disability and how to support them to participate effectively. So for me, having them as an institution coming up as, to be outlined as stakeholder would be very important. So they can be able to give technical support and advice to any other institution trying to implement some of these projects in the regions. Because you talk about giving them, 30% of them coming as beneficiaries, but how trained are your personnel in terms of implementing this project? How are you going to support someone with visual impairment? How are you going to support someone with hard of hearing? So these are some of the things that we're trying to look at, as, for private sector projects, we can talk to them, but for anything that has to do with the government, I think that is need to consider, persons with disabilities, not only as workshop beneficiaries or project beneficiaries, but be part of, implementation body. That will make it very effective. That is my point of concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Honorable. Mr. Jao, I believe there's a gentleman back there who had his hand raised. Yes, yeah.
Thank you very much. Alaji S. Cham, Senior Program Officer Tambo. My question first goes to Mr. Foreman and the other one to Mr. Dorari. Okay, Mr. Foreman, we say nutrition is not about eating until your stomach is full. Just like the Jolas, that's not nutrition. What nutrition in your sensitization or awareness is, I think you should explain the components of the food, carbohydrates, proteins, minerals, and vitamins, and which type of foods give us all these things. Because people think you have to eat until your food is at your throat here. That's what, just to have energy to walk. That's not nutrition. Nutrition, however small the food is, let it be balanced diet. So how do we, in those kind of areas, sensitize people understand food, it has to be balanced. And the types of food that it should be increased in diet so that it will become balanced. Because some of these things are not even explained. We just want to try to have a kitchen garden. Because Gambian, some of these things you have to go and buy, go to the market, go and buy these things, but you can have grow it at the backyard, and then you have a balanced diet. Every time you want to eat, you go and pluck fresh vegetable and use. I think in your awareness lesson, this will be very clear to people, so that you have a balance. However, the small food is still be balanced. Not the type of joras and cereal how they eat food. No. Not only the fooders are very wise in eating. The other question goes to Mr. Jadu. HIV is a case, still exists in this country. But since COVID-19 came, people tend to forget what is HIV. And you have adolescent boys and girls, they are more vulnerable. They are very active in sex. Unsafe sex is very critical. Because HIV, and it is affecting the youth very well. I worked for NAS for 9 years as a coordinator in CRR and KMC, BCC. I know some solar health facilities, you go every day, you have the 3 nines. The other 9 is stop new infection. You go to health facilities every month, you see 50 or 40 new infections in the greater Banjul area. I was coordinating this year. So you see, people think sex is just for pleasure, especially our youth. They don't care about, I want it raw. That's what they normally say, body to body. These are serious, what sensitization are you going to put in place to make sure this youth, vulnerable youth, abandon, use the ABC method. I think that's the best thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. You've got the I spent 25 years in public health education. And this is a very important comment. So very important comment. In our education programs, we factor the importance of food and the composition of the food that make healthy nutritious diet. Because food is important. But every food has nutrients that has a role to play in our body. But all the food that we eat has 3 critical importance in our body. 1, the food that we eat gives you energy to do all kind of activity. 2, it helps you to grow and develop. And 3, it helps to protect you from disease and infections. That is the role of food that you eat. Every kind of food that you eat has to play this kind of role. But different food has different nutrients that help you to achieve these 3 fundamental importance of food. So our education focus on diversifying diet, not forgetting about the food should be safe and hygienic. So in our communication campaign, we develop materials that help us to promote diversified, healthy, nutritious diet. And this is going to continue. Because we know we are dealing with people. And those people have habits that are to change. If you look at our food habit in this country, there is a lot to change. But who decides what is prepared in the farm? So that's why in our SPCC, we don't only focus on an individual, but we need focus on the entire household. So that everybody has common understanding of the role of food and the type of food they should eat. Because different people have different needs for different foods. So that's what we used to do in our campaign. So we have series of materials that are available to support the idea of balanced diet. Now, we are not talking about balanced diet now. Because it's difficult to have balanced diet. There's only one food that's balanced. And that's breast milk. To have balanced diet is difficult, but we need to have diversified nutritious diet. And that's where our focus is. Thank you very much.
So on the brief comment my son mentioned, Fulas are my I'm there for, and Cham, probably he's from Chamen, Nyanija. That's where I did my earlier career as a public health professional. It is true that AIDS still exists, but compared to other countries, Gambia is still, very low in terms of the prevalence, and that's why, as I said earlier, external support is not putting more money on SBCC. It's unfortunate, but I think we can actually get the pandemic to a lesser prevalence rate below 1%. We are having 1%, 0.9 for quite a while. We could definitely bring it down to 0.5 if we have implemented the rigorous campaign. But unfortunately, also, the 395s, we are not yet. We have not met the 395s. The 395, one of the 95 is those living with HIV/AIDS know their status. 95% of the population, of HIV positive know their know their status. So, how many of us have tested for the past 5 years about, HIV? Probably a negligible, amount. So people don't want to actually do tests to know their status. And that's the first 95%. So which means there should be an outside population testing, a massive population test. Every individual in the Gambia should go now and do a test to know your status. So once that is known, then we have the other 95, which is all those that are positive, 95% of them are enrolled. But even now, those that are tested, we still have denials. Because it is not compulsory to enroll somebody to undergo HIV treatment. People are tested positive, but they still deny, and they don't want to. Or what they will do is they go to Senegal and do the treatment there. Or so we still have that denial, in our population. So that is also affecting the. It is true. The new infection is also rising. The population is increasing. That's why we are still at that 0.9. That doesn't mean that we are not having new infection. No, the new infection is still coming. Although we are still 0.9% in terms of the prevalence rate. Yes. But HIV-1 is. But still now, when you add both of them together, we are not up to more than 1% in terms of the, So the estimated population for people living with HIV is around 30,000, for example, in the Gambia. But less than that are put on treatment. So I'm not a HIV specialist. I'm a planner, But I'm using the statistics that I am using in my planning to also, bag your argument or the problem. It is a problem, really, but we need to first establish our status. We need to go and do massive testing.
All right, thank you. Our third and final question.
Then we can have such a discussion.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, panelists. My question goes to my boss, Sekou Diba. We understand that the program targets vulnerable youths, and perhaps I think this may cover children or students that are already out of school. So if the program is perhaps going to target them through this literacy and numeracy program, is there possibilities, to streamline them into formal education system? That's the question I want to inquire. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawara. Yes, it used to happen because in the past we had done literacy centers across the country. Participants in those centers, sometimes they transit to formal sector. They are linked. Sometimes it happens. It depends on the interest of the literacy participants. Besides, there are other programs which is not linked to this project because of GGOL Those people are targeting people who are either dropped out of school or they have never been dropped. We prepare them to a certain level, and from there they join the formal system. So these are all there, depend on the interest and the performance of the literacy participants. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I?
You may.
Okay, thank you very much. I think he actually, I don't know how to call it. I even have to ask him whether you saw what I had in mind. So first it was on nutrition, because I know Nana has the documents, they have materials for their advocacy. But how well is it getting into to the people, to the right people? That's everyone. And you will all agree with me that in as much as social media has negative impacts, it has positive impact. I believe in the positivity of social media. And before waiting for external funds or whatsoever, you could utilize social media, digitalize those materials, put them in some postcards, some posters, some flyers. Just post it everywhere. We have Gambian youths are very active. Not only our youth, we have our parents, our grandparents also active on social media. Even if they don't participate, but they watch, they listen. If you get those pictures, get someone to do a voiceover, maybe in Mandinka, in other local languages, the information will sink without you physically going to make them. It's a proposal, it's a suggestion. Maybe you could also look forward to it. And to my director here, I'm also proposing that radical campaign method, using the social media, every close measure that you have, because these factors, these problems, challenges have been detected or have been factored a long time ago. But what solution are you taking? You know that education, they are not aware, but you could do a little. I know Pope FLA it's no longer in the curriculum. And we were lucky to have it from primary to grade 7. We were exposed to it. But unfortunately, it's not in the curriculum. I think they're trying to bring it back. But like I said, we are active on social media. At the university where I am, we have a health and sexual awareness page where students are, and we have conversation. We do research, we invite doctors, we invite health personnel, experts to give us information. Let us not rely on external funds and all that. We could do it our own way with the little things we have. Let us not underestimate it, because it's a big fear for me. I'm a young person and I know how much the virus is spreading. In as much as the records you have are to me, are understating the reality. That's how I see it, because I don't know if it's because of the connection I have with some health personnel in there and the research I do and all that, but it's scary. It's very scary. And if the information doesn't sink, we will just put our head down, and we wouldn't have anything to explain or anyone to blame. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that comment, not a question, but a comment. And it's a very valid comment. SPCC is a project that uses 3 key strategies. That is advocacy, behavior change communication, and social mobilization. But of course, in delivering these strategies, we use several approaches. One of it is mass media communication, using radio, TVs to communicate to the mass. We also use interpersonal communication networks. These include the village support group, the traditional communicators or the Kanyarens, the mother clubs, or any other structure that we use in disseminating information to the people. But we also use social media as a platform, because we know we are in a global world, and we have to ride through what the global world is moving along with. So social media is also a platform that we are using to communicate, inform, and engage, because we know there are several people, especially the adolescents, that are very much attached to social media. So we are also using social media as a platform to share information that will influence the behavior of small target group. But definitely it's a very good comment. Thank you very much.
Okay, I want to add something to what Umar Yawla has asked. We literacy participants in our adult literacy center, they can transit to formal sector. Yes, it's possible. I want to cite an example from SOS and Inside Training Center, because those people, they conduct their literacy classes in English. So sometimes they pick adults from the street, some are mates, and they end up going, working in the hospitality industries, some become social workers. Yes, SOS just had the corner here. Many of their students are adults, and now they are working, and they give them their competence. So it's possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Deba. That brings us to the end of this panel discussion. I thank you all for your very important, I would say, contributions to this. Thank you to my panelists. Thank you for joining us. That was very interesting, and I think we all learned a lot, most especially about the project. And we'll be keeping a close eye, and we are very sure that this project will be very successful.
Sure.
So as I mentioned, thank you all for coming. We will have a fragility training. It's not compulsory. If you want to stay, you may. If you do not want to, you are free to leave. Then after the fragility training, then we will have lunch. Thank you all for coming once again.
Thank you. No.
Comrade.
Thank you so much to our honorable moderator. You did a very good job. You really fortunate to have you. Thank you so much. So we have lunch here. You can kindly wait for lunch. And also your transport refund movement is down there already. For those of you that aren't going to be part of the fragility training, but we want everyone, if you can attend, you are free to attend. So while we wait for lunch, we can attend the training. Thank you.
Just apologize for the city. One of that. No, I'm saying Sam, you agree? Sam, then we'll link Thank you very much. You did an excellent job. Yeah, it was very good. Thank you very much. I very good with modern media.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello. Am I alone in this room? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Alright, so my name is Charmaine Mbulu-Samba. I am the Regional Fragility and Resilience Coordinator for West Africa and the African Development Bank. And I'm also supporting the project on vulnerable group and women support projects on this capacity. And today I'm going to introduce you a little bit on what the bank is going to do in terms of addressing fragility and building resilience as part of this project. Our presentation will be structured in 5 key points. The first point will be to update you on the next strategic approach to address fragility and build resilience in Africa, so that you know why we are doing this as part of this project.